this homestand that Sporting has, this is the season. If you're going to make a run at, the 8th or 9th spot in the playoffs, it's going to happen right now by getting a lot of points at home when you have this homestand. And if you can't do it now, it's not going to happen. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back.
What's up?
Sort of No Other Pod. I'm Jimmy, along with my good buddy Daniel Kooser. Dan, what's going on, my friend?
Dude, not much, man. What a Saturday of soccer it was. I am hot, and not in a sexy way. I just feel like my eyes are heavy because of all the sweat in them. I did not. Summer is here, folks, and hope you're wearing that sunscreen because Jimmy and I be getting melanoma cut out of us.
Thankfully, mine's not melanoma, but it is a type of skin cancer, so that's good.
You haven't got it out yet, right?
No, in mid-July is when they're doing the actual procedure.
Mid-July. What a stretch out there. They're like, yeah, we'll take care of you in a month and a half.
Well, they were gonna do it sooner, but I'm visiting some family for the 4th of July, so they're like, "Can we do it? You want to do it on like June 24th?" And I was like, "I could, but I'm gonna be out of town for a few days, a week later. Like, is that a problem?" And they're like, "Well, let's do it when you get back, just in case something crazy happens." So,
oh, true. You never know if something reacts differently, right?
Yeah, and I asked them, I was like, is there any medical like risk to waiting a couple extra weeks? And they're like, "No, you're fine." So,
well, that's good. Just gotta. You'll get it taken care of.
It's just annoying.
I'm excited for you. How fun. They get in there with like a soldering iron. You'll be smoking out of your neck. It's going to be crazy.
See, now this one, it's a little different. It's a special type of surgery for this specific type of cancer because it's small enough where basically this is going to be graphic. So I apologize. Fast forward 30 to 60 seconds if you don't like medical stuff. But it's called Mohs surgery, where they basically shave small layers until they get it away, and then they said that they're just going to stitch it up. There's not going to be any like soldering or anything. So,
well, that it doesn't always have. That's what I had. I had Mohs, and the soldering just happened because they had to fix something. I think I'm like cut something. I maybe they put something in me like a tracking device or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Thankfully, it's a really small spot on my neck, at least visibly. It's like less than a centimeter, probably like closer to like 3/4 of a centimeter. The thing is, they obviously don't know until they get in there, like how deep the quote unquote tumor goes.
Sure.
But hopefully it's not that intense and doesn't take that long. So,
man, my incision is like as long as my index finger. It is crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't even have stitches out yet. I've had them for like weeks, and I get them out this Wednesday.
That's crazy. Yeah, they told me it'd be 2 weeks until they get the stitches out for me. But I can't. I mean, like, it's a really small spot, realistically. So I'm hoping it's not that intense.
Pretty sure I've had mine for like 5 weeks, and I'm over it. The tape I'm wearing on the bandage is like irritating my skin. I'm going to the pool today for Father's Day. Can't get in the pool. Just gonna sit there and watch Formula One on my phone like a nerd.
I had been, after they did the biopsy on my neck, that it's an open wound when they have to, cut a piece of it to do the biopsy. And so they were like, keep it bandaged, put some Vaseline on it so it doesn't like scab over because that'll make it heal better, all that stuff. So I'm doing all that. And whatever bandage I had on my neck was so adhesive, like the ones that I kept putting on over the course of the week, that it not only started irritating like the part of my neck where there was no wound, but like I ripped it off at one point, and it basically ripped the skin because I had putting a bandage on the same spot over and over and over again, and that part hurt more than the damn biopsy wound. I was like, 100%. I'm done with the bandages. I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, I don't have one on right now because like it was starting to itch, and I'm like, is it the stitches that are itching, or is it the tape on my skin that's itching?
Yeah.
Luckily, I've got all these bandages from the hospital from hip surgery. So I'm just, what a year we're having, buddy. This is quite the year.
Getting old. I have heard, I don't know if this is true. Maybe this is just what my parents might have lied to me as a kid and just told me this to get me to shut up.
They did.
I feel like I remember them telling me, like, if it's itching, that means it's healing. So don't touch it.
Oh, no, sure. As a guy with tattoos, I can tell you that's what that is.
So that's what, because mine started itching at 1.2 and it sucked, but obviously you can't scratch
Yeah.
it to get rid of it. But I was like, at least it's healing.
I was scratching the tape area. I was like, all right, that's irritating me. We're just going to. You want to see it here on the pod, Jimmy? You want me to just flash in my shit real quick? No, I won't.
But no, it was a fun filled day of soccer. The Current obviously were going full force against Louisville. Now, at one point you had talked about you were going to do the little split ski. You
I
pulled
did
it
it,
off?
baby. Listen, I went and witnessed 3 goals at KC Current, and I was like, hey, we got the job done. This game feels like it's in the bag. Spoiler alert, listen to Currently, because they started to make it a game towards the end. It got a little sketchy. They were going to drop points or something. But so yeah, we headed over to Sporting. Didn't make it in time for Shoppy's goal, and didn't make it in time for the almost instant equalizer afterwards, which is what we're known to do. Apparently, it kind of sucks.
Yep.
But I got there. It was good. I didn't have to kick anyone out of our seats. That's always the worst when you have to show up late to a game. Sometimes, like, I'm right next to the South Stand, and sometimes people from the South Stand like think that our section is also GA.
Yeah,
it's not their fault. It's kind of the club's fault for not like labeling it a little better.
Yeah.
And we've had to kick people out before, and I hate it. It hurts, like, because I put myself in their shoes, and I'm like, this would suck because the game has started, and now you have no more seats available.
Yep.
So you're going to the back or standing room, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's not great, but there should be a way that makes it more clear as to what is GA and what isn't. Even if there's a small sign like down at the end of the stairs or something that like has their general admission that way, reserve. But that's the thing. I mean, I work in communications for my day job, and I always tell people, like, I could grab somebody, shake them, and yell at them in their face the information I want them to know, and they'll come back to me later and be like, "You never told me."
So honestly, even at the top of the stairs, it does say like GA's here, and this is section 120, whatever it is. And there was a guy at one time being like GA or this, and he would like direct. And I'm like, you can't rely on a worker to be there doing that the whole time. Like, that's crazy.
Right. Well, especially with the amount of people that are coming in and out, and there's people that are, already had some libations before the match. Then there's people with kids, especially in the South Stand or soccer teams, youth soccer teams. It's tough.
But we didn't have to kick anyone out, so that was nice. Our seats were, no one was there, so. But it was good, man. It was a good sweaty time, I'll tell you that.
It was. It didn't feel like it should have been as hot as it felt. Although the highs, I think, got close to 90. I don't know if it formally hit 90, but it got close to it. But the problem, at least for me, as I was walking from my car to Children's Mercy Park, is there was no airflow whatsoever. There was like no breeze. The air was just sitting there.
Now, we had a little breeze over at the CPKC Stadium, and giveaway of the millennium is a Pride Clack fan at KC Current, dude.
Yeah.
Don't laugh. I wasn't even clapping when they scored goals. I was like, clack, clack, clack. I was clacking the shit out of that fan.
I should have grabbed it. I didn't bring the giveaway that they had at the Sporting game. I don't know if you got them or not, but they are cheap Sporting KC branded sunglasses, but they are the like Patrick Mahomes, like giant visor style sunglasses that they gave out. And I have a pair because they gave them to us in the press box, and I put them on for a hot second, and I was like, I look stupider than anybody I've ever looked in these glasses.
That was yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. Send me a picture later, because that sounds awesime.
I'll send a picture. Maybe I'll send it to Nick so he can superimpose it in here if he wants to. But they're not good quality. They're terrible. But I don't know, like the Mahomes style that I'm talking about, where they'll almost the one continuous lens visor, and they look big. And let me tell you, people like myself, though that style is not meant for us. So
him and some Chiefs players were at the KC Current game, and Andy Reid was there.
Reid too, yeah.
But I love a functional giveaway, dude. And I tell you what, I had that fan just going. I was just waving my face, and I was pleased as punch. Just having a good time.
The Current, it was crazy because I got to Children's Mercy Park parked at like 6:25 or something like that, and the game was scheduled to kick off, a few minutes after 6:30. And by the time I got to the press box, it was like the 2.5 minutes into the game. And I'm like, great, I'm gonna get to watch most of the Current game. And I look up at the screen, and it's already 1-0, and I was like, God damn it!
This thing would have been 2-0, but a goal was called back in the 3rd minute.
Yeah, so it's crazy, but no,
It is.
it was fun.
And as I planned it, I was like, we might have the game in the bag by halftime. We were going to leave at like the 60th minute, but when it was like 3-0 at halftime, I was like, I think we good.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've done that a couple times. Yeah, like we said, listen to currently, but they've gotten in this habit of scoring early and scoring fast, and then they I don't want to say they take their foot off the gas, but other teams can make it more interesting than maybe it should be later in the game. So
And last thing I'll say about that game is, dude, you'll never get an experience like this again because they had Lola Bonta and Dabinia signing autographs on the concourse
that's so cool.
because they're injured. When will you ever have a chance to get those two players autographs, U.S. national team, Lola Bonta, Brazil national team, Dabinia, at the same time? We went to get in line. They cut it off. It was right there. They're like, this is the cutoff. And I was like, you got to cut it off sometime, whatever.
Yeah. They're like, oh, it's Daniel Kooser. You're not allowed.
Bro. I was going to have him sign my Pride fan. It would have been legit.
That would have been cool. Yeah, it is pretty cool, especially Lo after making her debut for the U.S. Women's National Team.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty cool. So yeah, it was a fun weekend of soccer. It continues. By the time you're listening to this, the first U.S. Men's National Team Gold Cup game has already happened, so we might talk about that a little bit later. But lots of soccer.
Will we though? It can't be good. It can't be going good if you're listening to this right now.
I mean, one would hope it's Trinidad and Tobago, but we also know the history of the U.S. Men's National Team versus Trinidad and Tobago. So
I'm not optimistic about it. I'll tell you that.
It's there's so much soccer happening this week between the NWSL, MLS, Gold Cup, FIFA Club World Cup. I mean, it's crazy. So if you are a soccer fan, it is a fantastic time to be a soccer fan in the United States of America right now. Well, I should say I say it's a fantastic time. There's a lot of soccer on. I don't know how fantastic of a time it is to be a U.S. soccer fan because, like you said, I don't know how optimistic I am about the men's national team right now, but
or even a sporting fan sometimes, man. It kind of bleeds into that. I mean, I could say the most exciting thing about sporting right now is that Basong went to the Canadian national team for the Gold Cup. Yeah. I just think that's the coolest thing. It's been a while since we've had a national team player go play in a meaningful national team competition somewhere.
Yeah.
And that feels cool.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Let's go ahead. Let's take our break here real quick. And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit of sporting Kansas City. But we'll be right back.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story, like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Folks, it's playoff time, and if you're still just watching the games, then you're missing out. With Pick 6 from DraftKings, you can turn your hoops knowledge into real cash. Just make your picks, track your score, and if you hit all 6, you're looking at bigger payouts than Prize Picks flex plays. Nobody's dropping better payouts than Pick 6. Hit 6 picks, and that's 25 times your cash. And if you beat your competition, you could be looking at a 500 times bag in your pocket. And right now, new customers can get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry. Here's what you got to do. The playoffs are on, so why not take a shot at making a little money while you're watching? Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app right now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN to play $5 and get $50 in bonus picks. Better payouts, bigger wins, only on Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdictions. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited, 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Dude, so I mentioned I'm going out to my dad's pool today. You know, it's only going to be 87 degrees again. And I will be under an umbrella because I have stitches and cannot be getting in a pool. What a great time for me. Very excited while my wife goes and has fun with my family in the pool and I'm just sitting there.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is the life we live now. We have to wear giant hats and slather ourselves in sunscreen. I mean, I'm going to be honest. This is why I was a little sad. I was like, really? All the work that I've done and I still have skin cancer. I mean, I'm that dude who goes to the beach and I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt and I have, if not a cabana to sit under, an umbrella, and I'm always reapplying sunscreen every hour and a half, and somehow the sun still got me. But
Get you, dude. I mean, you stay red too. I mean, your hair, face, you stay red. So when you get redder, it's not, you're either angry or you're sunburned.
the worst was, this was, gosh, probably about 10 years ago, and we were in Vero Beach, Florida, and which is an awesome little town on the Atlantic coast, but we were out there and I'm being super strict about sunscreen, religiously putting it on every hour and a half. I'm like, I am not going to get sunburned. I'm going to enjoy this beach because I love the beach. I'm going to enjoy it, but I am not going to get sunburned. And at the time I wasn't wearing like a long sleeve shirt or anything. I was just like, I'm just going to be really strict about it. Later that night, start feeling that burn, that itch. By the end of the night, I have one of the worst sunburns I've ever had in my entire life. And I'm like, what the hell happened? I put on sunscreen every 90 minutes on the dot. Look at the sunscreen. This is when I learned sunscreen can expire. Did not know. I had been putting on expired sunscreen all day and was out in the blazing Florida sun all day. And it sucked.
Yeah.
So,
dude, and you can even get sun like through an umbrella. Did you know this? You can be shaded by an umbrella, but you're like not completely shaded from UV rays.
right.
Wild. I sat under an umbrella and I had like some sun the next day. I was like, I was not in the sun.
Yeah, there's a lot of even like cloud cover because it doesn't feel as strong. You can still get sunburned like real bad through clouds.
That could be worse.
And I even think that, I'm in my car. I don't think about wearing sunscreen while driving in my car because like, oh, I'm in a car. I'm protected. The spot that I have skin cancer, I don't know this for sure, but the spot that I have skin cancer, left side of my neck, it's the driver's side of my car. So who knows? You never know.
This whole podcast is now like health corner. This is you come here to learn these things, and we'll keep you guys abreast of Jimmy's situation.
every week you get updates. Let's talk about this game for a little bit, because as much as I may not want to. This was one of those games where I think I said this on the podcast last week, and then I ran into Zach Cobb, who is a sporting fan that some people may know on social media and such. We ran into each other at a work function actually on Friday, and we were talking about this game, and he was like, what do you think is going to happen? And I was like, honestly, Sporting could win 4-0 or they could lose 4-0. I have no idea with this team anymore. And I feel like that was sort of my feeling going into this match. Like, should they beat Dallas at home? Technically, probably. But will they? Who knows? I don't know. How confident were you? Or were you kind of in that, like, I knew it could happen mentality?
I'm right there with what Carey says pretty much every week in his interview, where he says this next game is an opportunity. And it felt like, yeah, man, they're right there with us in the standings, kind of. These are home points for the taking. We got quite the home stand coming up. Mm-hmm. We've had a lot of away games. So it's like, hey, let's rack up some home points and see if we can do any damage. And I'll be honest, I was hopeful. And I got even more excited as I had the game on in my car as I'm driving down I-70 to come to Children's Mercy Park. And I hear that goal. And I'm like, man, I can't see it because I'm driving. So I'm like, Marissa, hold the phone up to my eye level so I could be like this when they showed the replay, right? And I would like Look out of the corner of my eye, try not to crash the car. Hey, I'm not texting and driving. All right, I do my best. But I was pumped, dude. That strike he had from outside the box, what the F? That was exciting.
It was good. I mean, it was in the 8th minute. And what's interesting is, so Shop
Early.
It is early, especially for Sporting. He had a couple opportunities early in this match. And what was so interesting is we all know at this point that Shafi is very, very left-footed. Like, he will do whatever he can to get the ball on his left foot. And again, this was a left-footed strike. But even before this, he'd have the ball on that right side, and he'd have two players doubling him. They're giving him the entire right side of his body to just drive at the goal. They are not, like, the book is out on Shafi Suleimanov. They are not even attempting to stop him from going to his right side. So I was like, damn, this is going to be tough. How's he going to do it? And then there's a little bit of ball movement in this play, and quite frankly, it's, Dejan Jovic is the one who sends the ball back to Shafi Suleimanov, and I think it's just because Sporting has players like Dejan or Manu that in their own right are dangerous with the box. It created just enough space for Shafi to take a little touch and then fire this thing in, and there's no stopping a shot like this. I mean, this is about as perfect as you can place it. There's simply no way that Martin Pass can stop this shot at all.
It's insane, dude. And I love watching the celebration, right? Like, Eric Tommy is kind of floating around thinking he's going to get the ball maybe. But when that goal happens, he puts his hand on his head like, what the F? Yeah. But Jovic, man, being able to spot Shafi right there, like, here, take it back. Have a hit, man. We've seen you do this in training. I'm certain of it. Mm-hmm. And he does. And you got Jansen Miller jumping in there. Like, I'm a Jansen Miller guy too, by the way. Like, it needs to be discussed that man is on a pretty big defensive tear. If we're to talk to somebody on this podcast anytime soon, I think we got a world of things to talk to that rookie about.
I'm gonna work on that because he's a fun guy to talk to.
Seems fun, dude.
By the way, the fit that Jansen Miller was wearing yesterday, we talked to him for a little bit after the game. This dude, it wasn't made out of terry cloth, but it looked like it was made out of terry cloth, and it was like the button-down suit with the shorts, and they were all the same material, same color. I was like, this dude, he's got some swagger to him,
some drip, if you will.
Yeah, he's a rookie, and he's out there. He's getting fired up. He's showing up in these outfits. I'm like, okay, I see you, Jansen. We'll see.
Love that. I love that. It's I'm loving his play on the field too, man. He's looking more like a transfer or a trade rather than a drafted rookie. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't see that out of new players like that very often. And these goal line saves he continues to make too. I'm like, dude, it looks like he's having fun doing it too. And at the end of the day, it is a fun game, right?
Yeah, we'll talk about the other goals that happened before this here in a second. But since you brought it up, this goal line save near the end of the first half, we asked him about it because I'm a big Pulskamp fan. I think Pulskamp's made a lot of really good decisions and has gotten smarter about when he's coming off his line. This was not one of them. He comes way the hell off of his line and cannot get there.
There's not.
And I mean, you could see it as the ball that Dallas sends into the box happened. I saw Pulskamp come off, and my first thought is, there's no way in hell he's getting there. It's just not happening. And he gets touched around, and there's a wide open net, and I'm thinking, okay, this is it. This is where Dallas takes the lead. And you can watch Jansen. He sees Pulskamp come off the line, and he said after the game, he goes, I saw John come off, and we played enough together that I know there's nobody there. I just started making a beeline for the net because I knew there was nobody there. And yeah, he saves a goal. And it was just an absolutely incredible stop where he's running full force back, and that would have made it 2-1 just before halftime. And Pulskamp owes Jansen Miller a nice steak dinner for that save.
It was a do or die, save situation, just right place, right time too, like beeline 100%, sprint your ass off. But it sure didn't take Dallas long to equalize after Shafi's wonder goal, which would have been a cool moment, goal of the week nominee, if you will.
Yeah.
And that was easily forgotten because they just came and made it so freaking easy, dude. They just picked us apart not 2 minutes later.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head how often this has happened to Sporting Kansas City, but it anecdotally, feels like it happens a lot more than it should, where we get a goal and we're on this emotional high, and then, within the next 5 minutes of the match, the opposing team equalizes. In this case, it was 2 minutes later? I'm not even sure it was 5 minutes. And yeah, it was, they just move the ball, and it ends up being Peter Musa who just taps it in off a cross, and there's just no organization in the back line. As much as we were just singing the praises of Jansen Miller, I think he just gets pulled out of position on this play and leaves the box wide open, and Peter Musa is just sitting there to tap in the cross. So
I was just going to say that, man. I tell you, Musa and Shelton were kind of going at it all night as well, like on corner kicks and stuff, kind of shoving each other. Shelton's a no-nonsense guy, man. He doesn't take any shit. I'm enjoying watching his little defender experiment. It's been going pretty strong here.
Yeah, he did not have a great game on Saturday night, and he said as much after the game. We talked to him briefly, and Shelton flat out said, quote, "I didn't have the greatest game today." He also had some other thoughts about the referee, and said, he didn't think it was a foul, but he got shown his second yellow card, and we'll talk about that more later. But let me just say, let me say this before we get into the second half, and we'll take our break here probably in a little bit, and we'll keep talking about this game. But I like to think of myself as a pretty even-keeled person when it comes to putting blame on a referee or coming up with excuses as to why a result goes the way it does. And I'm not going to sit here and say that Sporting Kansas City lost this game explicitly because of the referee. What I will say is that was one of the most awful and disgraceful refereeing performances I think I've seen in I don't know how many years.
You about to get fined?
Come at me, bro. Come at me. Well, I will fight you, Sergey Demyanchuk. What are you doing? This was
say the man's name correctly, will you?
I don't know how you say
I don't know either.
I know it's Sergey Demyanchuk. I mean, honestly, it was shocking. Shocking to the point where, and I want to be clear, I'm not making this allegation, but shocking to the point where it crossed my mind, does this man have money on FC Dallas? Because it was such a bad performance, so inconsistent, and not just him, the VAR. What are you doing? What is happening? It was so off the entire match that I think it truly impacted the game.
What are you referencing to? What VAR moment? The penalty?
Mainly the penalty.
Because that was pretty soft. There's not a whole lot to that.
Oh, there was no contact. Honestly, I saw
zero contact.
I saw the replay, and everybody in the press box thought the same thing. I saw that replay, and I was so convinced not only was that going to get sent down for further review and be overturned, I was like, oh, Luciano Acosta is about to get shown a yellow for simulation.
Yeah.
And not only did that not happen, they didn't even send it down for further review. And it was one of the most clear and obvious errors I think I've seen in a long time. And that was after Shoppy had a shout for a penalty in the first half as well, where he went down. And I said at the time, I turned to Daniel Sperry, who was sitting next to me, and I go, I don't think that's a penalty, because I've seen penalties given for less, and I've seen worse not get called, but I didn't think it was a penalty. But if you're going to call that bullshit and give Luciano Acosta a penalty, then you damn sure better give the penalty that Shoppy went down on. So
you would think so. I will say, what in that 61st minute, dude, when Kyrie comes in sliding like a bat out of hell, it's a reckless challenge. He comes in crazy, doesn't get the ball, so it's like, is that a second yellow? I mean,
doesn't get the player either.
But the intent was there. You know what I mean? It was a reckless challenge. So in that sense, I kind of agree with that. And it's a shame that it wasn't like a straight red, because that can be, reviewed. Yellows cannot be reviewed or overturned. So it was a second yellow. He was sent off. Now we're playing a man down with 30 minutes to go. So I know he didn't get the player, but like, even the announcers were saying like, sometimes intent is all it takes. You know what I mean?
Listen,
and it was It looked reckless, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Look at him coming in. He gets nothing. It's crazy. I don't know.
I think he got more of the ball than I don't know. The player took 3 steps after and then went down and then was pretending like somebody shot him in the leg.
They did a good job of playing that game, and sometimes that's what you got to do, man. I will say, little Acosta, he's kind of fun if he's on your team, right? I mean,
that word I would use. I said fun's not the word I would use.
If he's on your team,
I had some words about him last night that I won't repeat here.
If he's on my team and he's scoring like this, dude, and he's quick like that, I mean, the dude's like 5 foot tall, by the way.
He's a great player. He's a great.
You see him next to his center back there. That guy's like 7 foot tall.
Yeah, he is a really, really good player. So there's that. I'll give him.
He just owns us later on in the game. You know what I mean? He just dribbles around people. It was crazy.
He does. Well, here let's take our second break here before we jump even more into the second half, because there's lots I want to talk about. But we'll take our second break and we'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network.
People watching the video probably think I'm boozing it up here at 10 in the morning with you, man. I need to let the record show. Jimmy's got coffee, and it was a pineapple jalapeno homebrewed kombucha. So there you go.
Who's Bucho?
Real good stuff.
No, I feel good. I'm a big fan of kombucha. I've never obviously brewed it myself, but I love kombucha. So
I bought her a home brewing kit for kombucha, and she just continues to keep a recycling stock. You know, it's amazing. It's a gift that keeps giving.
There you go. If you ever start your own line of kombucha that you're going to sell, Kombucha has to be the name of the brand.
It ain't bad. I mean, I would need a little bigger operation than this little big jug that you have going on, but you know,
your home jug.
Yeah, it's just a regular like glass thing, you know.
Take it to the county fair, that wherever that is in Topeka, and set up a little operation, farmers
markets fair.
Anyway, let's talk about this second half a little bit more, because it's 1-1. Sporting came out and there's certainly opportunity to take this, and they ended up on this foul that Acosta somehow draws in the box. They actually say it's on Jansen Miller. I think initially they thought they called it on Joaquin Fernandez. They say it's on Jansen Miller. He's the one who kind of stuck a leg out. But again, no contact is made. The referee is sort of behind Acosta, so all he sees is Acosta fall down. But this is what the VAR is for. They're supposed to be able to take a look at what is clear and obvious and see, is there contact made? Is there anything that rises to the level of a foul, and signal for review? And that did not happen here. And I don't know anything for sure. I don't think anybody knows anything for sure, but I was talking to some people who theorized that Pro has sent a mandate down to their referees to limit the amount of times they have video review intervention over the last couple of weeks. Like that, they quietly said, hey, stop sending so many reviews, because I don't have the stats in front of me, but the person I was talking to, who is a trusted person and has this information, I'll leave it at that, said that, for weeks it was like, oh, there's, double-digit reviews every week. There's 10 reviews, 12 reviews, 11 reviews, 13 reviews. And then suddenly, week to week, it drops down to 0 reviews, 1 review. It doesn't just fall off a cliff like that unless there's a mandate somewhere. And I think they got tired of having as many reviews as they were having, and maybe they got tired of people saying that the refs are getting it wrong. But you can't just arbitrarily decide we're going to stop using the system functionally because for reasons that are unclear. It's frustrating.
No, and let me get a little more pissed off right now about it, because how come one of their players clearly denied a restart and didn't get shown a yellow card?
Multiple
times. Didn't even get a talking to. Oh, yeah. In fact, I can't remember who pushed the guy. Maybe it was Shoppy, but he got a talking to from the ref. And I'm like, what happened to when that rule first came in effect a few years back, whenever it was? They're like, you will be shown a yellow card for like delaying a restart, whether that's stopping someone from kicking a ball or kicking the ball out of bounds or into the stands.
Yep.
And I'm so mad over that. Like, I know it's such a small thing, but like, dude, I'm autistic as fuck. I love rules. Stick by the rules. If there's a rule, do it. Don't tell us what it's supposed to be and then not enforce it. That pisses me off so much. I'll be saying this shit in the stands. Mercer's like, you got to remember this for the podcast. I said, I can't forget it. I hate that it keeps happening.
Mm-hmm.
What's the rules anymore?
Yeah, no, they had multiple players kick the ball away, and not just like tap the ball away, like kick it away like far, like 20 yards away. And then
What's this guy doing?
Eric Tommy's trying to take a quick restart, and someone just flat out blocks it from 2 feet away. And Eric Tommy's looking at the ref. He goes, I'm trying to take it. He just blocked it. You're looking at him, and you don't give a card. What are we doing?
You saw this happen. You're a trash referee. Like, dude, I had a guy tell me that he heard that the referee had a police escort to his car last night. Like, no joke. I know that's a joke you make about referees, but like, I think that was a serious comment he told me.
I do know. So I don't know how many of you did you stay until after the final whistle, or did you head out a little bit early?
I headed out a little bit early.
And a lot of people did, and I get it. But after the final whistle, Logan and Denbei, he's down there. And I was kind of watching, because when these games get a little chippy, I always like seeing what happens either between the players on the two teams or with the referee. And I was like, what? Sometimes things happen. So I'm watching. And I see Logan and Denbei beelines to where the referees are. And I see him having an interaction. Obviously, I'm in the press box. He's down on the field. I can't see what's happening. And next thing I know, Sergey pulls out a yellow card and shows it to Logan. I'm like, okay, Logan clearly said something. So
got a post-match yellow card.
Post-match.
I feel like it was Logan who got the restart delayed and then got yelled at for pushing a player or something. I feel like that's who it was.
That may be. But so Logan gets the yellow card there in the post-match. In the locker room, someone asked him after the game, they're like, what did you say to get the yellow card? And he goes, I walked up to the ref and I told him, from the bottom of my heart, you are the worst referee I've ever seen.
Hey. And he goes, you know what? Here's something I haven't done all game. Here's a yellow card for dissent. Like,
and I literally laughed out loud in the locker room, because I don't know why there was, and Logan's got his French accent, so it's even funnier, because he goes, I told him from the bottom of my heart, you are the worst referee I've ever seen. And I was like,
sounds kind of like sexy and romantic, but also rude.
There's something about not just telling him like, hey, you're a bad referee, but when you add in from the bottom of my heart, like I have never felt something so deeply as I feel right now, where I need to tell you how trashed you are at your job. And it just cracked me up. And he's probably going to get fined, because I'm sure they write some report and then they send it to the league and they'll say, oh, you can't verbally abusing the referee.
Who's the reporter that tried to get Carey fined in the post game? Like the question was just, could the referees do better? And I'm like, dude,
that was Carlos
just trying to get him fined. Like what? And he didn't even say sorry about the result. And neither did you, by the way. Why aren't you sorry, Jimmy?
Well, Thad already said it for us.
That's true. Thad said from the bottom of all of our hearts, we're sorry about the result.
But yeah, Acosta, he gets this foul and he converts the penalty, and that's annoying. And then it sort of went off the rails after the red card. And I will say, the red card shown to Kyrie, I 100% disagreed with it at the time. I see where you're coming from. I still don't think, given that the player on Dallas wasn't hit, took multiple steps, and then decided to go down, if you're going to do anything, call it a foul. I wouldn't have given a yellow at that point. But Kyrie was walking off, went back, had some more words, kind of got his money's worth. I said at the time, because I was so mad at the referee at this point, I was like, if I'm Carrie Zvagnin, I go full baseball manager and I get myself tossed at this point. Because what do you have to lose? Like at that point, and it's not Carrie's way. He is the most calm, cool, collected guy.
I wish he would, though. Dude, sometimes players and fans need to see it. Like it's less about being confrontational and more about showing that you care so much about this right now. And fans would have rallied, bro. Fans would have cheered Carey on the way out. I guarantee it.
I mean, it's the reason why I said baseball manager, because that's just, they're the ones who tend to do it. But you'll see every once in a while where the manager's coming out of the dugout and he's decided before he takes 2 steps out of that dugout, I'm getting myself tossed right now, because he's like, I need to do something to fire up this team, fire up the fan base. And it's so funny to me because you see them argue, and then they argue and they argue, and they're doing this on purpose, and then they get tossed, and then it's like a volcano erupts, and it's the top,
like kick dirt on home plate and shit. Yeah. I'm trying to think what the equivalent would be for Carey to quote unquote kick dirt on home plate. Like, you don't want to rip up your own field and like toss it at the ref or anything, but it's like, what does he do? Pick up the ball and just punt it?
That, or if honestly, if I were a coach and I thought I might do that tonight, I'd bring my own cards. I'd have them in my back pocket, and when the ref tossed me, then I'd pull out a card and I'd card the referee. I'd be like,
I'd have a stack of reds. I'd have a stack of reds, and I would make that motherfucker rain.
Walk to the referee.
Red.
Red card for you. And I walk to the AR and I go, and a red card for you. And I walk to the fourth official, and a red card for you.
Ooh, that's an Oprah moment that Carey should have had, bro. Oprah it up.
I did see as the refs were walking off the field, and they had that little escort, and he gave the cards to a fan who was asking for them. And I so badly wanted the fan to take that red card and just immediately show it right back to the referee and be like, no.
The ref gave his cards?
Yep. Gave the card.
Did they do that?
Apparently. I don't know.
I've never seen that.
Maybe this ref just thinks it was the ref show, and that's why he was making all these calls.
Okay, maybe, dude, I'm bamboozled right now. If that's a thing, that's awesome. Not that I would want him to autograph it or anything. What I'd want you to do is take a TikTok of me throwing it back in his face and saying, "Enjoy getting to your car safely, you fuck."
I will say, obviously, I hope that he made it back safely. But
I don't condone violence. It's a joke.
What's crazy, like, he got booed, obviously. But there are some South America matches where if there was a referee performance like this, the referees would legitimately be in danger. Like, there are some crazy things that have happened in South American soccer matches where they take this stuff. It's literally life or death. So
they throw like nickels or jars of piss. Like,
it's crazy,
freaking gross.
But I do hope that Pro takes a look at this referee performance. So we'll never know if they do or not. But this referee gave a red card to Diego Luna recently that then got overturned by appeal later, which obviously doesn't help RSL or Diego Luna at the time. If
Kyrie can be overturned, right? Since it was a second yellow,
they can appeal.
Can they?
They can still appeal, yeah, but I don't think they're gonna overturn it. I think they'll stay like you said, where they're like, even if he didn't get him, the speed at which he came in, I don't think it's gonna be something that they'll overturn.
If you're already on a yellow, for Kyrie to do that, knowing he's on a yellow though, is kind of wild if you think about it. Like, that's a crazy thing to leave your feet in that situation so far away from the play. I don't know. If I'm on a yellow, I'm kind of playing with handcuffs a little bit,
Yeah, I mean, Kyrie didn't have a good game, and he acknowledged it. So, and he took full accountability. Literally, the first thing he said to us when we talked to him after the game is, "I didn't have a great game today."
I'm a big fan of people like making fun of themselves before someone else can make fun of them. You know what I mean? Like, I know I got something stupid on my face. He's just like, yeah, before you say I had a bad game, let me just tell you I had a bad game.
Yeah. So good on him. Once Sporting went down a man, I mean, it was going to be tough. In the 69th minute, Kamungo, he taps the ball in. Pulskamp has a good save on Pete Sarmusa, but Kamungo's just there to tap it in. And then stupid little Luciano Acosta. It was a great play here in the 82nd minute. He just gets sent on the counter and man puts Pulskamp and a couple of Sporting KC defenders on skates, because, like you said, he's a fantastic player.
Tiny little boy.
He's really, really good, and he makes it 4-1. If there's any consolation in this for Sporting Kansas City, it's that in the 10 minutes of stoppage time that were shown in the second half, Santi Munoz, the relatively new loan signing from Liga MX, he gets his second goal of his time here, and it was a pretty decent goal. He has a nice little first touch and some traffic in the box, takes a couple of dribbles, and then slots it home. So if there's a positive, I'm excited to see more from Santi Munoz as he continues to get used to this league and this team.
Why not, man? That's a big positive. I mean, I don't know if is there any way that him and Jovic can get on there at the same time for a majority of the game and make some things happen. That would be awesome. I will say Nate Bukaty was on this call. I think when it was made 4-1, there was still like 10 minutes plus 10 minutes of stoppage time, right? So 20 minutes left in the game. And he's just like, he goes, and they, Acosta just gave them all 3 points. And I'm like, oh, no faith in us to score 3 goals in 20 minutes. But I was like, surely there's going to be a lot of stoppage time here. Like, to say that the game is over after that goal, pretty wild. Shows no faith in us when I think we have shown that we could come back, but we didn't. And at the end of the day, you lose 3 points at home. It is what it is, man.
Yeah, I mean, even Carey after the game, he goes, we were down 4-1, and I thought maybe we could come back with this group because they never give up. We put every attacking piece we had on the field because I thought just maybe we might be able to do it. When you have a group like that will play to the final whistle, regardless of what the conditions are, that's something every coach should be proud of.
I think my favorite thing, though, is when Carey was asked, could the refs do better? And Carey just goes, not going to bite. He's just like, I think all of us could do better. It was just saying, like, in life, we can all get better every day at something.
He had this theme throughout his post-game press conference where he wasn't going to get fined. And we've seen in all the years that Peter Vermees was head coach, there were times where he was measured, and then there were times where I think after a game like this, Peter probably would have got his money's worth and he probably would have been fined. Carey's in an interesting situation as the interim coach where he's got us probably pick and choose his spots. He's still vying for this job. And he has to be careful. And so his theme after the game was, he said, when he was first asked his thoughts on the match, he just said, quote, I talk to the guys on a regular basis about let's control the things we can control and understand the things we can't. And by knowing the difference, we can focus on ourselves. And I gave the same message to the guys tonight because there were a lot of things not in our control, but that happened. So what I'm reflecting on right now is less so what happened in the second half. And first myself in the decisions that I took in the game and how I prepared the team. So I get it. I don't know what else he can say. I mean, the refs aren't going to change their decisions based on what Carey says in the post-game press conference.
True.
So,
well, I tell you, Chip sent me something over today. Is it time for the Chip Shop?
Give it to me.
All right, theme song. Chip Shop, baby. For a game that was a total shit sandwich, let's look at what happened. The game against Dallas was a rough one and felt like there was bad blood between everyone before the whistle blew. I don't say it lightly, but SKC faced an impossible uphill battle the entire game. Hearing the broadcast noting the little to no contact on those replays, which ending up seriously hurting Sporting, really kept the game out of our reach, regardless of how well we did. The game ended with 9 total cards, which is tied for the 3rd most cards given in a match this year. The top contenders were Dallas against Salt Lake and SKC against DC United, both in March of this year with 10 cards. After a few minutes of looking like we were going to have another game where we're afraid of the goal and not taking shots, SKC managed to get one in the net in the first 10 minutes of the match. That's something we haven't done since September 2024 when Polito got one against Colorado. The only other time that happened last season was Tommy's early goal against Miami. Back to the offense in this game, we had another one where the swings happened in strong ways. SKC had 5 of the 6 shots taken in the first 29 minutes and then went without a shot for the next 45 minutes. That middle of the board was completely dominated by Dallas, and we didn't have much to answer for the 2 goals they got in that time frame. But I don't want to discuss any of this without throwing out some Jansen Miller love for his goal-saving slide. Defense doesn't get all the accolades, but that stuff was pure poetry. And now to talk about the bad. We had 4 goals put up on us. That's 4 goals on 4.0 XG, which is what I want to focus on. Dallas had 9 shots all game, 4 of which were on target. Pulskamp only had 1 save on the night. The thing that stands out so much to me is that of the 4 goals that Dallas got, the lowest XG on one of the goals was 0.67, and that was their first goal. Their PK wasn't even the highest XG goal they had on the evening. Hell, it wasn't even the second highest. Dallas did an amazing job of not only picking apart the defense, but also taking that extra step or two to have an absolutely open net. While the game left an impossibly bad taste in my mouth, many of the goals that they had were strung together and the defense had no response. Yes, tempers were high with how things had gone, and maybe SKC was just making stupid mistakes because the players were upset at the officiating, but Dallas knew what to do, and their execution absolutely put us in the ground. They had the upper hand and put pressure on the wound. They knew to sweep the leg, and boy, did they ever. Looking forward, we do have a bit of time off, a whole 10 days before hosting Charlotte to Children's Mercy Park on the 25th. I'll hold off on the numbers for that game until next time. But in the meantime, rest up, Sporting. Do some yoga, drink some tea, whatever y'all need to do. This match was rough, but we've got to get back in it. We do got a little break, man. That's a midweek game, right? That Charlotte game?
Yeah, it's a Wednesday night.
Yep.
So
good deal.
I do agree. I was looking at the stats after, and I was like, damn, 4xG, that's bad. But what I will say, not to discredit anything that Chip said, but it does get a little tough once you go down a man for 28 minutes, and they had 2 goals that came after that, and Sporting was just throwing numbers forward trying to come back in the game, also down a man. So it's one of those that's like you look at those stats and you're like, that sucks, and then you kind of have to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt because you're like, it's not. There's a little more to it, but it's just a bummer because this, like we talked about last week, this homestand that Sporting has. This is the season. If you're going to make a run at, the 8th or 9th spot in the playoffs, it's going to happen right now by getting a lot of points at home when you have this homestand. And if you can't do it now, it's not going to happen.
No, man. We're going to be in trouble, but it's still a long ways to go in the season. But we're just all over the board. Our identity, man. I don't know what we are. I can't blame last night entirely on the officiating. Like, still got to score goals. Defense really gave up an easy one in like that 10th minute.
Right.
So it's tough, man. And I think Acosta picked us apart because we're really pushing numbers forward at that moment after that red card. Just tough,
Yeah. And I want to reiterate, as much as I was saying that I thought the referee performance was I think I said disgraceful. I'm not going to sit here and say that Sporting lost entirely solely because of that. Like you said, that first goal that Sporting gave up, that's not on the referee. That's on poor positioning. That's on lack of focus defensively for Sporting Kansas City. That's something that this team has been known to do throughout this time. So there are certainly things, like Kerry said, that Sporting can look in the mirror and control better. Did Kerry want to say more? I think probably. I mean, when Carlos Chicas asked him, can the referees do better, Kerry took a deep breath and sat there for a second and thought about how he's going to answer. And that's when he said, I think we all can do better. And he goes, I know I'm going to dodge the question, but I think we all can do better. And hey, I get it. So what I will say can be better is the answers that the referees give to the pool reporters after the game, because Daniel Sperry submitted a couple of questions and there's just really no detail. And I don't know what we expect the referees to say at this point, but it's just, I find that at least sometimes the referees in the NWSL matches actually give more detailed answers and clarity as to what their thought process was. And very, very rarely does that happen with the referees in MLS matches. And Pro is sitting referees to both. I don't know if it's just personal differences with the referees or what, but I could have told you what the answers that the referee was going to give to these pool reporter questions were before he even sent them back, and they are not illuminating.
No, it's pretty dumb. It's a waste of time. There's no accountability. You know what I mean? And that it's just like, then what's the point? Like, because we read the responses and we're just like, nonplussed, dude. We're just unimpressed.
Yeah. They changed the pool reporter. This is maybe a little too inside baseball for people. I don't know how much they care, but they changed the process this year. It's all digital now. It used to be that whoever was the assigned pool reporter would have to go to the referee's locker room and they would submit in writing I don't remember, it's 2 questions and then you get 1 follow-up or what, but they would have to write the questions down literally on a piece of paper, submit it to the referee who would then handwrite the answers, and you can get 1 follow-up if you wanted to. And that was it.
And the follow-up was always just like a repeat of their first answer. It was never like, they never explained. Yeah, they never explained more. It's just, they just are wanting to get out of there. They got their paycheck. They did, they ran too. They exercised tonight,
right. Well, now it's all digital. So there is a portal where you submit them online, which it's supposed to be faster, more efficient, more detailed, etc. And it is faster for the reporter because now the reporter can submit the questions and still go to the main press conference instead of waiting outside of a locker room. But it also means that the referee can answer the questions. It can get sent to a PR person somewhere who looks at the answer and is like, let's make sure we do this that puts us in a good light before it's eventually sent back to the reporter. So I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say I know what the answer is. We're not ever going to get the clarity that we want from the referees. I think Pro, preaching to the choir, and we've said this before, I think Pro would do well to have a little bit more transparency after the fact by admitting when mistakes were wrong. But they're never going to do that.
No, it's all just kind of annoying, man. But you gotta shake it off and get back to training. And now that the days are hotter, man, it's gonna separate the men from the boys, dude. With how the humidity gets,
Yeah, it is. It's going to be rough, and we'll see how players like Manu or Shoppy or Santi react to that heat. I mean, this was approaching 90 degrees as the high on Saturday. It's going to continue to get hotter here in Kansas City, and we got this home stretch of games where there will be some days where it's above 90 at kickoff, and it's going to be miserable. Now, thankfully, most of these games are after sunset, which does help, but it still can feel oppressively hot, and it felt warm on Saturday night when we were there, but it's not even remotely close to the hottest game that I've been at. It's going to get much worse. So
100%.
We shall see. Outside of that, there wasn't a whole lot in terms of news for Sporting Kansas City. There were some other crazy games. San Diego beat Minnesota 4-2 after having a hilarious own goal. St. Louis and the Galaxy, they had a high-scoring draw, 3-3, which, hey, I'm not going to often come on here and give praise to St. Louis, but if you haven't seen the St. Louis tifo they put up for both Pride Night and I'll say a subtle message regarding the discourse around immigration that's happening right now in the country, shout out to their fans for that tifo, because I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, man. I mean, NYCFC blasted Atlanta on Thursday too, by the way.
Yep.
Did you say that already?
Nope, not yet.
Okay.
But
you love to see it. But that 3-3, god dang, man, Galaxy just can't catch a break. They're like, we scored 3 goals, we should win this game. Nope.
Yep. Nope. They cannot. And then the Club World Cup is happening right now. Miami played Al Ali at Hard Rock Stadium. FIFA promised to sell out at Hard Rock Stadium for this match, and it was not. It was anything but a sellout. Al Ali is an Egyptian
too.
It was 0-0. They're an Egyptian team, but they claim to be the most decorated club in the history of world football because of all the trophies that they've won. Obviously, they're not winning Champions League trophies and such, but that was an interesting match. And this week, actually Monday afternoon, if you're listening to this Monday morning, this is kicking off 2 p.m. Central Time. LAFC plays Chelsea at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in the Club World Cup. So
yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's an interesting one to keep an eye on. So
there's a lot of, I think that's on like TBS, True TV,
on DAZN from what I'm looking at.
Yeah, but also it's saying,
is it elsewhere too?
TBS, probably Max too. But it's DAZN, is that how you say that?
Yeah.
Okay. I see that Bayern plays Sunday here today. We're recording, and it's only on that as well. So
yeah, and Seattle, they also play on Sunday. So by the time you're listening to this, they've already played. They played Botafogo. So
and they are only Botafogo. You what'd you say to me?
Botafogo. Yeah, it's
some of these clubs. It's like, where are these from? And it's like, oh, they're in Serie A. Is that right?
I think so. I don't remember if they were Italy or Portugal. Botafogo,
Italy to me
is it's Brazil.
What?
Botafogo's Serie A. It's a Brazilian sports club, and there's multiple Botafogos. But this is Brazil. Serie A in Brazil.
Serie A in Brazil. That's okay.
Yeah, cool. I was like, I thought they were Brazilian because I don't remember seeing Botafogo in the Serie A table. But yeah, there's lots of soccer happening. There's the Club World Cup that's happening. Like we said, by the time you're listening to this, the United States has possibly lost to Trinidad and Tobago. But we'll see what happens. The Gold Cup is happening all throughout this week. Once they get through Trinidad and Tobago, then on Thursday, the United States national team plays known CONCACAF powerhouse Saudi Arabia in the Gold Cup. So, of course, Saudi Arabia is in the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Why wouldn't they? It makes
Why
sense
not?
that they're in the North American regional competition.
It's a hell of a week, man. You got match week 2 of Club World Cup, and then second match of Gold Cup later on, and it's there's a lot of international soccer going on, man.
There is. It's a fun week if you're a soccer fan. So, Canada, our boy Zoran, they've got a couple games. Canada plays Honduras, and then later in the week, Canada's in action again against Curacao. So, lots of stuff to watch. So,
yeah, dude. Later on, like Seattle gets to play PSG at home. Like, what a time!
Mm-hmm. PSG just won Champions League by multiple goals,
pretty easily.
2-2 Inter Milan. So we'll see what Seattle can do.
You gotta holler at you gotta shout out the song, man. When does Canada play their Gold Cup match?
Yeah, they take on I just had it here.
Honduras.
They take on Honduras on
17th.
when was it? The 17th. So Tuesday. Mm-hmm.
Cool. I'll be paying attention to Canada, man. Like USA is kind of losing my interest right now, which sucks since the World Cup is next year in the U.S.
So lost Christian Pulisic's interest apparently. So
that's so true. But having a Sporting KC player on a national team, like I said at the beginning of this show, is very, very exciting to me. So
yeah,
I'll be keeping an eye on it.
Oh, Canada, we're cheering for you.
Why not? Why not?
So, you got anything else for our good listeners this week?
No, that's it, man. Let's holler out of here.
Well, thank you all so much for listening. Make sure, excuse me, getting choked up. Make sure you leave us that 5-star rating and review. Make sure you follow us on social at NoOtherPod, at Dan Kooser, at JCMac03. Check us out on YouTube, KCSN Soccer, or on the Kansas City Sports Network app. And of course, you can send us an email, nootherpod@gmail.com. But until next time, he's Dan. I'm Jimmy. We'll catch y'all later. See ya.
Get your moles checked.